Welcome back to the SMT Media Network. In today's video, we're going to listen to an audio clip from the big ticket, Kevin Garnett, Hall of Famer, League MVP, champion, one of the most fierce competitors in the history of the game. Loved this dude's game. And he really does embody like the toughness element of being an NBA player. And he's going to discuss and kind of explain what he thinks is happening within the NBA that's leading to the NBA players seemingly always being hurt. Now that statement's a blanket statement, and I don't know if it's necessarily true. We do see players get hurt. Players have always gotten hurt. But what he wants to do, I think, is analyze, you look at the rash of Achilles injuries we saw this year, and then we can kind of see where he's going to go with this. So let's hear what he has to say, and then we'll kind of discuss it and respond to it.
And we don't think that today's NBA player, they do play at a fast rate, but I don't think they're in a tip-top shape. I don't think these players today, I think they're in shape until they talk to motherfuckers that's in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the league is in the type of shape that you need to be in the type of shape to play at this pace. I think they think that, and if anybody knows the body, your calves are your brakes. Your calves are your brakes. And the one thing that supports the calves is your Achilles. So if your calf is the first thing to shut down, you have to think about how things are built, right? I watched all of the tapes of Cole, Tatum, and Hallie. When you watch how all three of them poured their shit, they poured it the same way. Pump fake, and you used to pump fake like this. I used to pump fake with my whole body, meaning that I would show you the ball. Paul, Cole, Tracy, when they would give you something because they was wings, they can give you a pump fake from here. It didn't even have to be a dramatic, but they were so prolific at the shot that you had to honor it. So when P gave you this, he already knew that you was up, so he would be already in there. If you're not one stretch, and again, I heard this the other day. Some of the trainers were talking about the lack of calf raises for some of the players to end their workout. Bro, we used to end a workout, especially on a leg day, calf raises. This is how I'm speeding up, this is how I'm stopping, this is my whole wiggle. If your calves ain't here. And on top of, whenever I go to finish, I gotta be athletic enough to finish, right? Bro, when you start breaking that down, I'm watching how the technique of that, man, that is, to me, I'm watching, when you are working out and the coach gives the ball back to you to reset, he gonna tell you to get into a three. Bro, all this technique means something. First time, when you break technique? Man, when you get tired. When you get tired, I start standing up. Technique breaks down. I ain't showing it hard. I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying? So when I watched it, man, they all three playing it the same way. And to me, yeah, that's what I saw. And they all popped the same way.
Like, this is what Ticket talking about, that they out of shape. We practiced.
All right, so I wasn't planning on doing this originally, but I think it's worth discussing and also including his take. But first I want to do the Kevin Garnett piece. So when Kevin Garnett is describing what it takes to be in shape and what is being conditioned and what is being properly trained, I think there is some validity to what he's saying. Like, the players today are very muscular, they're very fast, they're explosive, and that's the way players have always been. The humans haven't changed all that much. So I know some people say that the athletes of today are better than they were before. Yeah, maybe, but to me, I look at Kevin Garnett and I saw the way he played the game. I mean, there's not that many players as good as he was, right? He was a standout player. So I'm going to take his description, his explanation with some weight, because I do believe that he worked very, very hard to be conditioned to play all the games in a regular season, all the games in the postseason, to be able to go through the grind of NBA seasons, make championship runs and those kind of things. So, I mean, he's credible in that sense. He talked about the chain of muscular and power transfer, talking about the connectivity between the calf and the Achilles heel. The calf is a much larger, more powerful segment of the body than I think people understand. There's two parts to the calf, and he mentioned and described the calf as being like the brakes. Yeah, so they're always engaging because all the stop and go and the pivoting and the rotations in an NBA basketball game and what the demand is on the body. Don't forget that the jumping right? So the fatigue element he's talking about is definitely real. Tyrese Halliburton didn't, tear his Achilles because of fatigue. It was the pre-existing calf injury, right? So that's important to note. Kobe was probably fatigue. Jason Tatum was probably fatigue, but it's the overuse and the overloading of the calf without any proper load management, without any proper treatment. It's, I think, what the players have been doing, and this is a testament to their toughness. They've been going through the rigors of the league demand, and they haven't been properly treated. Specific testing maybe that could have taken place. I think there's an element to the shoe wear, also the footwear. You hear people talk about like the shoes today are much stickier, which means there's more torque and stress and load on certain muscles. And the thing about the Achilles is it's not big, it's not strong, like in the sense of like how muscles are, right? When we talk about ligaments and tendons, they can only get so big and so strong. That's a limiting factor, right? So that's a lot of additional stress. So the more load, the more weight bearing, the more torque that goes on to these segments is probably why we're seeing those tears, right? And I will admit to him, just because players are more muscular, just because they're more explosive, doesn't mean they're better conditioned. In fact, quite the contrary. They would need and require additional conditioning and additional hard work prior to the season, and then the treatments that go with that to allow for the healing process, not listening to the body and suffering micro tears that then go, untreated or not taken care of properly leads to those injuries. So interesting take from the big ticket. I think there's some validity to what he's saying. It's just really hard to pinpoint a specific thing, but there's a lot of Achilles tears happening, and there's going to be some studies on this for sure. But an interesting take from the big ticket. Do you guys personally, do you agree with what the big ticket is saying, Kevin Garnett, or do you think there's something more to it? I like what he has to say on the topic. I know there's more to it. I think there's some footwear stuff to this as well. But it's interesting that he brought up the conditioning. I think the players of today, there might be an element of that. Could be part of the equation. What say you? What do you guys think? Drop me some comments. Like, share, subscribe. Check out some more videos. We'll see you guys soon on the next one.